The Imperium of Man. A million worlds scattered across an uncaring galaxy. A million worlds forever under threat from the machinations of cursed traitors and perfidious Xenos. It is an empire consumed by war, by the very battle for survival itself, for there is no peace amongst the stars. The Space Marines, genetically modified warriors who know no fear, spearhead every counter-assault, taking the battle to the heart of the foe. From the smoke-wreathed horror of Adeptus Mechanicus Forge Worlds sail warships of fearsome potency, their weapons blessed by the Machine God, and their crews dedicated to the Omnissire's holy cause. The Scholar Progenium molds callow flesh into leaders, officers of the Imperial Navy, the greatest fleet ever to span the stars. These heroes dedicate their life to the Imperium's defense, confronting the ceaseless threat of chaos wherever it manifests. The war against the dark gods and their worshippers is the eternal battle for the soul of mankind, for the future of the galaxy itself. It is the forge upon which true heroes are struck and legends tempered. Admiral Spire is one such legend, savior of the Gothic sector, vanquisher of Warmaster Abaddon's 12th Black Crusade. For centuries he has been lost, trapped in the shifting tides of the Immaterium, while in pursuit of the hated foe. Such travails would drive an ordinary man to madness, or into the clutches of the very gods he once opposed. But Spire is no ordinary man, and his time is coming once more.
We're out. Praise the Emperor, but I can see the stars again. Receiving distress hymnals. The region's alive with them. According to the timestamps, Admiral, the year. It's 999 M41. We've been lost in the warp for over 800 years. And Cadia, the hymnals report that it's been destroyed, sir. There's a lot of confusion out there, sir. And Admiral, Cadia fell at Abaddon's hand.
Then we are returned not a moment too soon. Navigator, chart a course to the Cadian system. We may be an age too late to join the battle, but revenge is still within our grasp.
Warp engines online. Geller field holding.
This is Admiral Spire to all Imperial vessels. Rally at coordinates 154554. This isn't over.
The Green Crusade, once an unstoppable tide of war, is all but washed away. The Eldari were purged from the Cadian Gate through the efforts of Admiral Spire. It would be many generations before they dared return. And High Fleet Leviathan, devourer of 1,000 worlds, has been driven back into the void. The threat of the Neferu dynasty was no more, scattered across the stars. With the Emperor's foremost son as Lord Commander of the Imperium, a new hope stirred. At long last, at the cost of countless millions of lives, Abaddon the Despoiler finally met his end, and a debt owed since the darkest days of the Horus Heresy was at last repaid. But his death could not undo the legacy of devastation he had wrought. The Imperium would face other battles against the Dark Gods. This was no ending, but a new beginning. Cadia had fallen, but its name and legend lived on.
Warriors of mankind, The Emperor has tested us, and we have not been found wanting. By his will and our faithfulness, we have journeyed through darkness, through fire, and now emerge into the brilliant light of a new dawn. But that light shines only so long as we keep it fed. Through our sacrifice, through the valor of the Imperial Navy, mankind shall endure. There is no peace in these stars, only a crucible of war in which our faith is forever tested. Our service we owe to our comrades. Our lives we spend for the Imperium. And our souls, now and forevermore, belong to the Emperor.
In the deepest eons of history, before mankind had even emerged from primordial ooze, the Necrontyr dominated the galaxy. But unity receded, even as the bounds of their domain expanded. Fearing the collapse of their civilization, the leaders of the Necrontyr assailed the Old Ones, seeking to wrest from them the secret of eternal life. The galaxy blazed with the fires of war. Too late, the Necrontyr realized the impossibility of victory. Thus they embraced damnation. The Star Gods, the Catan, walked amongst them, offering prized immortality and long-sought victory. So ended the Necrontyr of old. Betrayed by the ambition of Zarek, the Silent King, they were dragged in chains to the fires of biotransference, transmuted from fragile and radiation-cursed bodies to forms more suited for the ravages of war. Stripped of flesh, of mortality, even of their souls, the Necrontyr passed from history. Only the Necrons remained. Now enslaved to the will of the Catan, the Necrons at last altered the course of the war. Cosmic battle lines buckled and at last broke beneath a tide of immortal fury. As the last of the Old Ones fell, Zarek led what remained of his people in revolt against their Catan masters. The Star Gods were overthrown, shattered into shards, and forced to serve those they had once ruled. But centuries of war had taken their toll on both the Necrons and the galaxy. To preserve what remained of their empire, the Necrons retreated to colossal stasis tombs, to sleep away millennia while their domain healed and their rivals passed into dust. Freed from the shackles of time, the passing millennia meant nothing to them. 60 million years have passed, and the ancient tombs are once more stirring to life. The Necrons, forgotten by all but the Eldari, are returning to claim what was theirs. They will abide no trespassers. With the awakening of their Therion, Kefrek the Unbroken, the Neferu dynasty arises once more. Undying legions stir in the forgotten dirt of 100 worlds. The reconquest of the galaxy has begun.
Oh, Markham, let the legions rise. Oh, Markham, unleash the power of the Neferu. Oh, Markham, our worlds are infested. Scour them clean. This is my hour.
You've achieved much today, Amakan. And the humans, such potential for many things. Though they cannot be said to be truly ornamental, I have gathered one or two rarities from amongst their ranks. For posterity, you understand. Oh, the greenskin threat that was masterfully disposed of, if I may say so. Such vigorous fellows. But even vigor fades when faced with eternity. I see great things ahead for you, Majesty. All now know your name. Fear and respect are both yours. You prove yourself quite the ruler, Abakan. You understand what Abaddon and Kefrek did not. That madness and vainglory lose more crowns than they win. Have a care you don't forget this lesson. The Eldari are humbled, at least for now. For a dying race, they are rather resilient. If only they learn their place. One Theron falls, another rises, as it should be. All that remains is to give the order and claim your destiny.
Activate the throne.
The Tyranids, the great devourer. In all the stars, there has never been a Xenos race more inimical to the survival of mankind. Indeed, they are the bane of all other life. Their origins are but poorly understood. The stuff of rumor and supposition and nightmare. The Adepts of Mars believe that a single unknowable consciousness guides the Hive Fleets about their voracious purpose. This consciousness knows only unquenchable hunger. Hive ships serve as synapse nodes, spreading the influence of the Tyranid hive mind across the stars. Such is the hive mind's suffocating will that the warp is distorted for light years around. Confusion and terror spread before the hive fleets advance, as dreams darken and madness spreads. As the hive fleets advance, the suffocating embrace quenches the Emperor's light and drowns doomed worlds in psychic shadow. But the greatest threat comes from within. Foul creatures known as gene stealers infiltrate unvigilant worlds. A patriarch arises from the population's subverted flesh and projects a psychic beacon to draw the hive fleet ever closer. As the gene stealer cult grows in power, they emerge from the shadows of their benighted world. Civil war rages, shaking the planet asunder. Then the skies darken with spores and the Hive Fleet's voracious tendrils. The cultists exult at the fulfillment of prophecy and their ascension into the light. Their delusions die with them. There are many Hive Fleets, each but a facet of the immeasurable Tyranid threat. Leviathan is the greatest, and has wrought ruin on a scale never before witnessed. Though the great rift arising from Cadia's ruin has severed many of Leviathan's tendrils, many more remain. Even now, one is surging towards the Eye of Terror. Eldari seers scried desperately for a future that offered a glimpse of hope, but found only despair. And the Orcs, belligerent to the last, they hurled themselves into one last raucous battle. The dregs of Abaddon's mighty crusade retreated deeper into warp-blasted space, but there was no escaping the Tyranids' rapacity. Even the Necrons, master of the galaxy of yore, could not prevail. Those that did not retreat beyond this meager dimension were destroyed. And so, the 13th Black Crusade ended neither in victory for the Imperium or for Chaos, but with the endless hunger of Hive Fleet Leviathan. Admiral Spire's fleet, scattered and leaderless, was swiftly consumed. And then there was silence for a time. The galaxy held its breath, hoping that the Leviathan's hunger was at last sated. It did so in vain.
Admiral! We're reading signatures exiting Cadian space!
Impossible! Nothing survived! Emperor's light, no!
The astropath is convulsing! We can't get a hymnal to Terra!
Blessed Emperor! Get us out of here, all speed! They must be warned! Someone must!
My name. What is my name? Before no longer holds significance. I am reborn. I am Malos Vrykan, servant of the Dark Gods. Mankind languishes in a tumultuous galaxy. Its potential shackled by a corpse on a gilded throne. We must look to the past for our salvation. To the primal gods who shape all that is. Let there be war upon this false Imperium. Let the galaxy burn. The green-skinned threat. Belligerent to the last. They served well the glory of the Blood God, and they were masterfully disposed of. The Tyranids, devourers of 1,000 worlds, have choked on their last meal. Now thousands of futures open to the Architect of Fate. We are in position. Their suffering. Let Slanesh feast! Eldaris desperately assembled and struggled under the leadership of the God of the Dead, but found only suffering. How delightful. The Necrons, once masters of the galaxy of yore, are no more. Their immutable civilization now crumbles under the gifts of entropy. Long have I followed the War Master. I brought ruin to 100 worlds through blood and decay, through horrors that warp the mind, through perfection and perversions. I never doubted. Not until now. Pride. The disease that laid Horus low. It courses through Abaddon's blood also. It is his weakness. Once, he was mankind's greatest champion against a stultifying Imperium. Now, he is nothing more than a relic of the past. A herald to my ascension. My hour is coming. I offer a toast to the War Master!
Orcs are amongst the deadliest of the Xenos races. Multitudinous, belligerent, and possessed of brutal cunning, they spread across the stars like a green tide. Even in the war-riven sectors around the Eye of Terror, forever beset by chaos, they rank amongst the greatest threats. As battle raged between the Imperium and the dread forces of chaos, the Orcs gained a foothold upon ravaged worlds, using them as staging areas from which they could slingshot deeper into Imperial territory. Orc technology is ramshackle, but terrifyingly effective, combining mismatched components, scavenged gear, and intuitive leaps to forge weapon systems whose inner workings baffle the most experienced of the Imperium's adepts, but lack for nothing in sheer unbridled firepower. In much the same way, an Orc warlord can take a multitude of squabbling clans and forge them into an unstoppable army. Such a war has the sheer unbridled might necessary to conquer the stars themselves, leaving naught but rubble in its wake. As its momentum grows, so do its numbers grow, swollen by green skins drawn to the promise of bloodlust, teeth, and loot. The region of space now known as the Eye of Terror was once home to the Eldari Empire. A prideful, sensuous people, the Eldari realized too late the perils of excess. The fourth Chaos God, Slanesh, was born from their debauchery, its coming heralded by a psychic scream that shook real space to its foundations and devastated the Eldari. The Crone Worlds are all that remain of the Eldari's fallen domain. They are blighted planets, consumed by the spreading unreality of the Eye of Terror, and twisted to new and nightmarish realities. Though the Crone Worlds are overrun by the servants of the Dark Gods, the Eldari have not entirely abandoned them. They cannot, for only here can the treasured Spirit Stones be harvested, and thus the souls of the dying be saved from thirsting Slaanesh. Such expeditions are fraught with peril, for there are few more dangerous places amongst the stars. Many who seek the Crone Worlds do not return. The Eldari have never recovered from the horrors of the Fall. They are a fractured, dwindling population on the brink of extinction. Most dwell aboard star-treading craft worlds, honing their peerless minds along the disciplined paths in the hope of staving off the perils of decadence and thus preventing a second, final catastrophe. But not all Eldari can bear the rigidity of craft world life. Some depart their homes, seeking adventure amongst the stars as corsairs. Such lives are fraught with danger, but are also rich with excitement. These outcasts can be found in every corner of the galaxy, blazing a brief but exhilarating trail before madness claims them. The Drakari, too, live outside the structures of the Eldari path. Corrupt and cruel, they keep Slaanesh at bay, not with discipline and spirit stones, but by feasting on the torment of others. Raiders and slavers all, the Drakari are a blight upon the galaxy, as selfish as they are sadistic, as untrustworthy as they are cunning. But in recent days, the barriers between the Eldari factions have begun to crumble, with ever more gathering beneath the banner of one named Ivrain. These Inari keep their beliefs hidden as their intentions. Should they be encountered on the battlefield, caution will serve you well.